Hi, my name is Alice Lee. I'm an attorney at the law office of Joseph Potashnick and Associates. I want to talk about Medicaid fraud investigations here in New York. Let me be clear, there are two types of Medicaid fraud. Fraud committed by service providers like doctors and hospitals, and fraud committed by recipients. These are people who receive Medicaid benefits. Today, we are talking about Medicaid recipient fraud. If you are under investigation for Medicaid fraud, you probably received a letter like this in the mail. The letter tells you that you need to appear for an interview with an investigator and bring a list of documents with you. Letters like this scare lots of our clients, so I'm going to tell you to relax and keep watching. Let's begin with the first question. What is going on here? Why am I being targeted? In order to qualify for most Medicaid programs in New York City, such as Family Health Plus, Straight Medicaid, and similar programs, you need to be both a New York City resident and financially qualified. When you apply for Medicaid, you fill out an application in which you're expected to disclose your financial situation. You need to tell the government about all of your income, not just from your work, but also from any other source. For example, you may have rental income or perhaps someone gives you money. All of this needs to be reported. Also, you are expected to report any changes in your income immediately and not wait until your certification expires. Once you have been a target of an investigation, your case is assigned to an investigator with the Bureau of Fraud Investigation, or the BFI. The investigation itself can take from a few weeks to a few months. BFI investigators gather all available information from all open sources. They may contact your employers, your neighbors, or your tenants. They will sometimes follow you and take photos of your business, your home, and your cars. They will contact the DMV to verify your address and your car registration. They will use specialized search databases to look up your real property purchases, including your mortgage information. Then at some point during the investigation, you'll be called in for an interview. Most people don't realize that they have no responsibility to discuss anything with investigators. If you speak with them, you will put yourself in a vulnerable position because you will make statements that can and will be used against you if you're prosecuted. Besides, you can assume that the investigator already has a lot of information about you. However, they still want you to come in hopes of getting self-incriminating statements or harder to obtain documents such as your tax returns or any other missing pieces to build their case against you. Your most important goal here is to avoid prosecution and all of the consequences of a criminal conviction. So do yourself a favor. Do not speak with any investigator and contact a lawyer immediately. It can make all the difference in the world. We have handled hundreds of Medicaid fraud cases like this, but let me bring an actual example. This is a very typical case. We had two clients, a husband and wife. They lived in Queens, but had several properties, some in New York City, some in Long Island. The wife did not work, and the husband's declared income was very small. On their taxes, their adjusted gross income was hardly big enough to cover their living expenses, and with their 3 children and 2 cars, questions were asked. When they received the interview letter, I advised them to speak with an attorney before discussing anything with the investigator. They did shop around for a bit and ultimately decided to come to our law firm for help. At the consultation, we discovered that the family indeed had some rental income from the properties, that the husband's income was largely unreported cash income, and all combined, the household income was almost 3 times over the limit. They were facing criminal charges, and our priority was to minimize their criminal exposure. We began by reaching out to an investigator. Once a lawyer represents the person, the investigator is not allowed to have any contact with the client, which is a great protection against making self-incriminating statements. Next, we met with investigators without our client. We found out that the clients owed the city a very substantial amount of money based on the medical premiums paid by the government. In the end, we worked out a deal that allowed our client to settle the claim before the case was referred to the DA's office. When we were done, there was no record of the incident and the case was terminated. If you are a target of a public benefits fraud investigation, do not take any chances. Your case may be relatively easy to resolve if done properly. Do not make it worse by speaking with the investigators. You have no duty to speak with them. Protect your rights and call us today. We will answer your questions and show you what can be done.